Welcome to Tuesday, day 2 of the week, right here on the AM show. It's another day to give praise, another day to be our best for God and country. My name is Benjamin Akakwo. This right here is the AM show. Now, coming up, we're going to be serving you the news shortly, followed by the news review. And guess who joins us? Former Ghana Journalists Association boss Afil Money is our guest. And after that, we'll get into sports with Muftar Nabila Abdullahi. Then we get into our big stories. 3 major issues we have lined up for you. The first, yes, it's D-Day. Ghanaians go to the polls today to elect their assembly and unit committee members. Question is, are you going out there to vote? Are you? Anyway, do let us know in the course of the show. More than 60,000 slots are up for grabs. We've got our team on the ground to bring you up-to-the-minute updates and reports. Joining us for that conversation, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante and also Fred Oduro Ejako. Dr. Asah-Asante is a political scientist and Dr. Ejako is a local government analyst. And then from there, we'll be telling you about how to use soy for healthy savories in this season. How can you make the most of soy in your diet so you stay healthy while you enjoy your meals? We'll be telling you about that as we have a discussion with the team on that beat. And then finally, how about where are you going? That's the question at this Christmas break. You should contemplate the Maha Beach resort, and we've got some activities lined up. We'll be telling you a lot more about why you should join the bandwagon to Maha. That's all lined up for you today. So entertainment kakra, Sierra staff and so kakra. That's how we do it on the AM show. We'd love to hear from you. Let's know what's on your mind. On that note, let's settle for the news. Up next. Let's get into the news now. And in our first story, in the heart of the lithium mining saga in the central region is Ewoya, a community of charcoal producers brimming with anticipation and dreams of a brighter future. Another affected community, Krofu, is however proceeding with caution, citing insufficient engagement with the company to understand fully the scope of the work ahead. Head of Joy News' Energy Desk, Samuel Kojo-Brace, has been to the community and came through with this report.
What we've heard
is that work will soon begin, but we haven't seen it yet. And that is what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the mining to begin.
Auntie Mensime, a resident of Ewoya, expressing optimism in the prospect of the lithium mining in this area. Her optimism is being actualized by Atlantic Lithium with the announcement of an employment opportunity. The chief of Ewoya, Nana Mbrono Edu IX, says aside the announcement, the company has already employed some of the citizens.
We're training
They have trained about 3 people who are currently working. There used to be no jobs here apart from the charcoal business. Previously, when you come to this town, you will see no one around. But now, because of Atlantic Lithium, most of the youth are now employed. We are content with what Atlantic Lithium is doing here.
He describes Atlantic Lithium as a good social partner to his community.
I was here when they brought the plan. The road contract has been awarded. All the engineers that came, I met them in Accra and brought them here. They have opened up about a lot of things they plan to do to help the communities.
I meet Charles Adolfo, a native of Ewoya and employed as a technician at Atlantic Lithium.
People's lives have been changed. I am currently employed. I now have enough money to support my mother and my family. It has been very beneficial to me. The majority of the men who were unemployed and took advantage of the opportunity now have jobs. You can be a casual worker and earn around 120 cedis if you are not a contractor.
120 cedis, 110 cedis a day.
He explains that though the company is only undertaking exploration activities, many people from the catchment areas are already benefiting from the work of Atlantic Lithium.
For now, almost 10 to 15. Okay.
The company has employed 10 to 15 individuals and is not limited to one town. The permanent staff in this town consists of 5 to 6 persons, including my senior brother and I.
5 or 6. Okay. For permanent. For permanent.
For people who are mainly charcoal producers and petty traders, Charles says the conditions with the employment at Atlantic Lithium are life-changing.
I hope they start working soon because there are no jobs in the central region. They have not disappointed us since they arrived because when Atlantic Lithium arrived, they hired and trained indigenous workers. They've done an excellent job.
Auntie Mainsime says they expect Atlantic Lithium to serve as a catalyst for positive change in their lives once the mining operations starts.
Oh,
we know that when jobs come to a community, it brings economic life. It makes it possible for you to succeed in everything you do.
So this is a Woya community, a community of around 350 inhabitants. This is one of the many communities in which the lithium has been discovered in commercial quantity. This is where Barari DV Limited will be having their mining setup.
In our next story, the Progressive People's Party has opened nominations for members seeking to be parliamentary candidates. National Secretary Remy Parko Edmondson says the party is currently conducting elections for polling station and constituency executives, after which it will conduct elections for the regional and national executives. Rafiq Salam has the rest of the story.
The Progressive People's Party, PPP, for the past months has been engaged in the reorganization of the party, aimed at energizing its base to be battle-ready for the 2024 general elections. This they started with the launch of the regional and constituency officers for the party in fulfillment of the requirement of the Electoral Commission of Ghana ahead of the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Speaking in an exclusive interview to Joy News after a meeting with regional and constituency executives and supporters of the party, National Secretary of the PPP, Remy Parko Edmondson, stated that the party is fully prepared for the December 2024 general elections. He disclosed that starting from Monday, the party will open nominations for party members who wish to file to contest for the party's parliamentary primaries.
We are prepared very well. We started last year actually to reorganize our grassroots. We had our 10th anniversary on 1st October 2022. We held it in the Elmina, which is our birthplace. And also we chose Elmina because it was the KE constituency was the constituency that performed the best in 2022. And ever since then, we've been actively nationwide growing our membership. We have the EVA app that we have developed, which makes it very easy for every Ghanaian to register. We've started a process to elect our polling station and then constituency executives. That's currently ongoing, and as soon as we are done, we'll do our regional and then national. And as I mentioned earlier, starting this Monday, 18 December, we are formally opening nominations for the parliamentary people who are interested in contesting as parliamentary candidates on the ticket of the Progressive People Party. And then once that is done, we will then elect our flag bearer, and then we'll just move in full stream to prepare for the 2024 elections.
The PPP National Secretary spoke of the increasing cases of corruption, which he said the ruling New Patriotic Party government has little interest to fighting.
It is more, it seems to me like the government says one thing and then looks the other way. And we've identified some key aspects of the constitution which are making it possible for corruption to go unchecked. One of them, as we mentioned earlier, was the asset declaration clause of the constitution, which requires that all public officials appointed into office must declare their assets to the Auditor General. Quite interestingly, all they have to do is just make the list all right. But as to what they actually put in, nobody knows, because even the Auditor General cannot open it. It is sealed in an envelope that the Auditor General himself cannot even open and check. That Honorable Kwesi came in with 10 cars, 2 houses, and maybe 5 plots of land. And then at the end of his tenure, maybe he's going away with twice that. He doesn't know. So it's actually, it makes a mockery of the whole exercise. And the PPP is saying that we must amend the constitution and make sure that that provision is made public. The whole world should know as a public official what you came in with and what you left with. There's also the aspect of the president having the power to appoint about 2/3 of his ministers from parliament. We feel this is very wrong, and it defeats the purpose of parliament checking the executive.
Reporting for J News, Rafik Salam. Wah.
In our next story, the intensive labor and drudgery that characterize the production of plantain are a deterrent to the youth and the aged. Meanwhile, various aspects of the production could be achieved with mechanized tools to lessen the reliance on labor. The Crop Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research is partnering farmers to mechanize the production of plantain. Here's why.
The project, dubbed Mechanization and Work in Agroecological Transitions, seeks to industrialize the production of plantain. The coordinator for the project, Dr. Natsen Aram Amengo, explained that the project is equally aimed to address the issue of labor unavailability and the use of chemicals.
We believe that there is a lot of labor issues now. The youth are not willing to go into agriculture. Those who are already inside are also aging. So it's becoming very difficult now to get people to actually do a lot of the farm works. So we are looking at activities that could be done with more or less like mechanized tools that will reduce the reliance on the excessive reliance on labor, and also in one vein also prevent the issues that come with labor unavailability. We also are looking at reducing the use of agrochemicals. So if we could get mechanization tools that could be used at least to weed, then it means the farmers will use less chemical, because at the moment it is believed that they are using even more weed than they are expected to use on their farm. So basically the idea is, one, to reduce the pressure on labor, to make it easier and more attractive for the youth to go into agriculture, and also to reduce the use of.
Dr. Jonas Edu, who addressed the farmers on behalf of the director of Crops Research Institute, explained that the workshop sought to introduce innovative and sustainable solutions on how to modify existing machines to ease farmers' struggles. He further encouraged the farmers to state their challenges and needs to help the agenda of the mechanization project.
This project is very dear to our hearts as a research institute in terms of how we can actually bring mechanization in plantain production to make sure that life becomes easy. Can you imagine planting with machines and also harvesting with machines? If you have about 1 hectare of plantain, how many people will you need to be able to harvest? So please, the issue of mechanization is very important. But we cannot do that when we don't know what you need as stakeholders. And that is why this workshop is very important, so that you can tell us what you expect from this project, and then based on that, our engineers can also support in terms of identifying the right machines and then the modifications that will be required.
An agricultural engineer on the project, Dr. Shadrach Amponsa, emphasized the importance of co-creation in bringing out the most suitable tool. For Joy News, Nana Bochi Dankwe Yadom, Kumasi.
In our next story, the Bono East Regional Directorate of the National Road Safety Authority is on a quest to promote discipline on the roads and prevent accidents as preparations towards the Christmas festivities deepen. Regional Manager of the NRSA, Emmanuel Echampon-Perry, at the launch of a campaign in Techiman said the move would reduce the region's road accident rate and its resultant fatalities and injuries. Correspondent Anna Sabit has more.
The campaign, which seeks to sensitize drivers, road users and the general public on the need to prioritize road safety ahead of the Yuletide, forms part of efforts to help reduce fatalities on the road. Bono East Regional Manager of the National Road Safety Authority, Emmanuel Echampon-Perry, who was speaking on the sidelines of this year's road safety campaign, said the move is to help prevent road accidents across the area.
We have met here to launch the 2023 road safety campaign in the Bono East region. So we brought everybody on board, stakeholders, the driver unions, everybody to launch the road safety campaign for this year. And we also added some advice. We have advised the drivers on what they are supposed to do in order to prevent unnecessary crashes on our road, especially this Christmas and beyond. And if we are able to do that, then definitely we will be able to save lives on our road.
Even though the number of road crashes in the region has reduced compared to the same period last year, the region has recorded more fatalities this year. This, according to Mr. Echampon-Perry, is as a result of overspeeding on the part of drivers.
In terms of the number of cases in the region, it has reduced, but unfortunately, the deaths recorded this year has surpassed the previous years, which means though the crashes are not happening much, but the fatality is high. That's why we are saying it's because of, or it's due to speeding. Because the more you speed, the higher or the greater the impact when there's a crash. So we are advising that they should do their speed so that we can witness some reduction in their deaths.
Drivers were also urged to take the safety of passengers and pedestrians seriously and were urged to insure their vehicles to help address issues relating to road crashes. Abbas Yakubu is the regional head for priority insurance in charge of the Bono East and Ahafo regions.
We are passionate about ensuring our customers' safety. So for them to make sure they are doing the right thing on our roads, the education being given by the road safety authorities, our MTTD bosses and all that, we still have to ensure that they have good policies to cover them in an event of any form of accident. Because we at Priority believe that the customer is the first, and we prioritize them in our business. So they should take the policies so that in an event of any accident, any form of accident, depending on the policy that you took, we'll be in to make sure that you are back in your former state. Yeah.
Some of the drivers lauded the sensitization exercise and are hopeful that the move will help minimize road accidents across the region. Ambrose Akrugu is the chairman of the Techiman Drivers Association.
We really appreciate this program. It has helped a lot of drivers a lot. We really appreciate it. You see, when it comes to the end of the year like this, drivers used to have a lot of problems. So I think such education like this will help the drivers to move forward, and the accident will reduce a little bit.
Colleagues, is that we should take time. We shouldn't rush. From January up to date, whatever God was going to give us, has given us, we should take our time. We shouldn't rush, because as a driver, when you go and come back home, that's why your family will be happy.
The 2023 road safety campaign was held at the Techiman main lorry station under the theme "Stop Speeding, Stay Alive." Anna Sabit, Joy News, Techiman.
Now, 78 students of the Brooks Dream Foundation have been trained in cosmetology, fashion, and garment making to equip them with skills for the job. Certificates these graduates have acquired are European standard certificates, which open them up for jobs across the world. Martina Buguri now reports.
Brooks Dreams Foundation, which started as a corporate social responsibility to support girls who had dropped out of school either because they could not fund their education or due to pregnancy, with time introduced other areas including vocational training to support these girls. Speaking on the sidelines of the graduation, the executive director of the Bruce Dreams Foundation, Maimuna Kalim, said the dream is to see these girls fit globally into any institution.
And then over time, we set up the foundation so that we could be more structured. Then eventually, after years of doing the event management business, I decided to pull out. I'd done it all. So I focused entirely on the foundation. And we do a lot of programs. It's not only the skills training that we do outreach programs, back to school projects, health outreach training, ICT training for young people. But as we were growing, we wanted to do something more structured. So when we heard we know vocational training, we need to keep growing. So then we signed on to the Ghana TVET project, and we started. So we added on with the cosmetology and the garment and fashion training. So we are growing. And then we always like to see people and give them a chance. That is why when we give the award, best attendance is very important. Somebody who is dedicated, they have the will to work. We give them a chance, And then when they come here, we try to inculcate all the other aspects, as in mentoring them, building their self-confidence, advising, so that eventually when they leave here, you go and then somebody would say that if you were a product of Brooks, they know you've received a certain level of training. So work in progress. We still have big dreams, That's the dream, Brooks Dreams Fund. We have very big dreams. So we are still ongoing. We are still, step by step.
She said they are hoping to be able to attract giant factories to the north because of the human resource they are creating.
With this that we are doing, we've created a social enterprise angle, because we want a situation where we are going to be completely self-sufficient. So like those that we are training for the garment, the ultimate is eventually to lobby for a big factory to come here, because the certificate that they get is European standard based. It's standardized with the European Union.
The guest speaker, principal of the Tamale College of Education, Dr. Suleiman Idrisu, said the challenges the graduates have encountered should only help grow them in their career paths.
Next appreciation to the trainers who have tirelessly dedicated their time, their expertise and passion to mold these graduates into the skilled professionals they have become today. Your commitment to excellence has not only transformed the lives of these young individuals, but also contributed to the broader goal of narrowing the socio-economic divide in our nation. A special acknowledgement is due Mpamimura. I think that's my grandmother's name, so I would want to acknowledge yourself. The visionary and dedicated executive director of Brooks Dreams Foundation Skills Training Center.
And that's how we cap off the news, but do stay with us. Up next, the news review. We're joined by former head of the GJA, former president, Afe Omoni. We'll be right back. Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for us to get into the news review, and we're joined by our special guest. But before I bring him in, note that this segment is always brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. And what are they offering you? If you're a man, especially above 40, 38, 40, thereabouts, they're offering you prostate screening for free, gratis. If you're a woman, fertility screening as well for free. Here's where you can locate Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Here in Accra, at Spentex opposite the Shell signboard. There's Kumasi, Kronomabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrady Energy State, Tema Community 22. There's also Techiman Hanswa and Siama Nzima. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. I have the pleasure now of welcoming aboard former president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Afe Omoni. Mr. Moni. I pray that as I shake Mr. Money's hand, I'll get a lot more money. I just played on your name. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
I see my brother has done a Kaunda-like suit thing for you. It's from a different source.
At the same time, it deserves all the compliments.
Yeah. Or is it the Kaunda suit? I think maybe it's more of the shorter ones.
Yeah.
You know, these ones, but you remind me of the days of political suits and everything. The Nkrumah era coming into the 70s and 80s. Interesting. There's something that because it delves into the media, I want to tackle that before we look at anything. Yesterday, unfortunately, so two things happened that got me bashing the media, bashing home. One, the SML situation and Ken Ofori-Atta. I just saw a post from the special prosecutor that there had been some petition to him. Yesterday, I got a call from a senior citizen later in the day that, are we just going to sit down and let this go? How are we going to? And I said, well, there are certain processes that can be triggered.
Has there been a reaction from the ministry or the government?
Not that I know of, not that I have seen, but Manasseh Azure Awene has posted on X, OSP receives petition to investigate Finance Ministry, GRA, and SML. That deal makes no sense. But before we even get into the nitty-gritty, what I wanted to say, the Daily Graphic back then had captured, 1 billion Ghana cedis. The SML saves Ghana, 1 billion Ghana cedis. SML saves Ghana, 3 billion Ghana cedis. The question is, when they were doing those stories, which reporter was on it? Who asked the relevant questions? Because obviously, these were not the case per what we now know.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
But we put the stories out there. Based on what? Because the people said that was the case? Based on what investigation? Then yesterday evening, I saw something else that you may have seen. The Pope. And the claim that, and I'm Catholic, I'm unrepentantly Catholic. And when there are things like some priests getting into certain things they shouldn't, I bash them. But when it is not, and there's mischievous media too, I feel it is in very poor taste. Pope Francis authorizes priests to bless same-sex couples. And these were themes that the Western media, you can call it an agenda, whatever, they were doing. But I was disappointed to see Ghanaian media. And I'm hitting home. Also doing same. When in fact, Peter Cardinal Apiatekson had spoken in recent times and made categorical points. The BBC decided to pick its own angle. That's okay. It depends on what angle you want to pick. But it is clear what exactly the stance is. And in simple terms, without boring you to read anything, it is to say that blessing their marriages, no, it's not pastoral, it's not going to happen.
So we give some conditions.
But what it says was, but you can't also say that because they are in a certain state or they are sinning differently from you, they don't deserve God's blessings at all. So it's like, you've brought your child to church. Bless my child. Are you going to say, because both of you are gay or something, I'll not bless the child? Or that is the rationale behind it. But yet the spin, and I was really disappointed. Like, not just because I'm Catholic, but every time people like going for the sensational.
Sure.
Rather than what is accurate. So blessing, but in the context of receiving God's blessings in a certain situation. Bless me for this, bless me for that. How does that become blessing same-sex couples? You see the mischief in there. Blessing same-sex couples. I found it very disingenuous.
Shed more light on its latest stance.
Yes, there's something from let me see. I don't know whether I put that here, but one of our bishops actually put in something. I'll just find it and share, and that put the matter to bed. But I just felt that there's a certain agenda, and sometimes people feed into it without necessarily thinking. Yes. So Most Reverend Joseph Osei-Bonsu, Bishop of Konongo Mampong, actually put out something just to clarify the matter. But it shouldn't even have got here for people to, if the media had done its job well.
It's a hypersensitive issue. People, all kinds of twists. It certainly lend itself to all kinds of twists and turns. So there's a need for the church to come clean, to shed more light, explain its stance.
In fact, on the 11th, there was a release from the church. But with the mischievous tone, that is why now there are some reactions. And I commend the church for being speedy with this. But I keep saying that if you twist stuff like that, then you get people thinking, hey, when in fact that is not the case. And it resonates with the SML issue I was mentioning. Oh, they have saved us this, they have saved us that, when in fact they had not done any of that.
Because the reporters or the media institution failed to look at the other side, and they said that one-sided journalism is irresponsible journalism. But I will not slap the newspaper with perpetrating irresponsible journalism. And let me use the opportunity to commend most profusely Manas Azure and your session for that expose. And this is what we need as a nation, to shed light on dark spots, expose, unravel, untangle, and hold people to account for their stewardship. If it is true, and after listening to Manas, I'm inclined to believe that what he put out there passes the test of truth, credibility, and because he spoke to all the angles. He spoke to the MD, he spoke to people who matter in this case. So we need to chase officialdom to react to this story. Otherwise, it's so unfortunate.
Well, like I said, that senior citizen who called me yesterday, the person was basically so aghast. It's someone I've not heard from. It's someone who actually, okay, I'll not mention, but he was so sad. And this is an elderly citizen. This man must be maybe in his late 50s or 60s. And the things he was saying, and I was just asking myself, okay, so you can allow some young people to grow maybe not despondent, but get frustrated. But the elderly too, they're getting to that point, or they are at that point. I mean, I felt really bad. I was somewhere in the evening. This person called me and said, Ben, what is going to happen on this issue? How do we hold people to account? I have said the Attorney General, and with all due respect to him, he's a fine gentleman, but you can't expect him to do anything on this. It's his government. And we have shown time and again that Attorney Generals and Ministers of Justice, which is why some say that role should be decoupled, don't necessarily serve the public interest in that way, unless there's government interest in there. You look at the OSP, and he himself, he says he's not frustrated, but everything shows that things are not going where he would want them to go. So you ask yourself, where will you take this? Where? Parliament?
As long as he remains in office, I think the OSP is the best place to handle this case. And,
well, let's pray for Ghana. We're prayerful people, but I don't know. Prayer without work, I don't know what that will get you. Remember John? Pray, but work.
Sure.
We keep praying for Ghana. Yesterday, it's not that I have seen a lot of such things happen, such deals, such things we've brought to bear and nothing has happened. But yesterday, I just looked at this particular one and I was broken.
But at the same time, we ought not slide into frustration, because it's our job to keep hammering on issues.
Mr. Money, to what end? To what end? You keep hammering on the issues. The same, in fact, the rot continues unabated as you keep talking. More kind of cry, no more. Yeah, you talk and it gets even worse. So it's almost as though people have broken, sticks and thrust them in their ears. We're talking of $100 million to an entity that is practically doing nothing. And even worse, this is a rolling thing. Every year, we are beholden to them for 10 straight years. If that is not wickedness, I don't know what it is. We are going to the IMF. We are waiting for the latest tranche. Now it's been postponed to January. We're struggling to raise how much? 600 million. Yet every year, we're willing to give 0.75% on this, oil, on gold, to the tune of about 100 million. And the finance minister himself signed that document asking for the expansion, contract expansion. Usually you would expect maybe some directors at the ministry. He did himself. When the finance minister came out back then and did say indeed that SML had saved Ghana 3 billion Ghana cedis. On what? Based on what was he saying? Based on what did he sign for the contract expansion?
These are the questions we need to put to him. The hope that he will respond, and his response.
No, I have no hope about any response.
Elicit more questions.
It is what it is.
I believe we can trust your station to do the follow-up, and in the name of comprehensive journalism. And comprehensive journalism, once you tackle a story, don't go to sleep. You follow up, all the angles, probing and pushing officialdom to answer. I believe this is an issue which should not be allowed to be swept under the carpet.
Anyway, let's get into the papers. I'll do the Daily Graphic very quickly, then you do your stack of 3 before I come back. The Daily Graphic, don't get distracted from your mandate, Akufo-Addo urges Bank of Ghana. There's also 2023 WASSCE results, best in 4 years. That's according to WAEC. I actually saw the results of 2 young people who made straight A's. Straight A's. Commendable, highly commendable. Nana Mwakupoku is Offenso Chief-elect. 66,000 contest local polls today. I'm talking about the District Assembly Unit Committee member elections. On the back page, GSA sets up first independent laboratory and ministry hands over flood early warning equipment. So over 17 million eligible voters will go to the polls today to decide the fate of 66,257 persons who are contesting to become Assembly and Unit Committee members. The EC records show that 18,755 candidates are contesting the Assembly membership, while 47,502 are vying for slots in the Unit Committees of the 6,215 electoral areas across 259 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. But in this context, yesterday, we conducted interviews with some people in different parts of the country, asking them whether they would vote. Some young people said yes, others said, this adds nothing to my life, and these people do nothing anyway, so why do I even have to vote? I'll come for your reaction on that shortly, but let me do the bit on page 13 as well, then we wrap, and then move away from, when I do the international news, then we move away from the Daily Graphic newspaper. This one says, this year's results of the West Africa Senior School Certificate for school candidates have been the best in 4 years, with the majority of candidates obtaining grades A1 to C6 in the 4 core subjects: English, Social Studies, Integrated Science, and Mathematics. In English language, 73.11% of the candidates obtained grades A1 to C6 this year, as against 60.39% in 2022. 54.08% in 2021 and 57.34% in 2020. You can check out the details. But when it comes to this, though, I keep asking myself, when you talk to, let's even not talk of senior high school, university students or graduates, the level of English language ability, capacity, I'm sorry to say, is woeful in this country. Woeful. People speak, you listen to even a professor speak, and I do this unintentionally. I am just that kind of person. You listen to them, after every 5 sentences, there must be a mistake. Whether it's grammar, wrong idiomatic expression use, lack of concord, I don't get it. Yet we are celebrating, the others. It's not to say this is nothing to celebrate, but does it impact us really? Look at our writing in Ghana. Look at where we were back then. Look at us now.
And we have a situation in the University of Ghana which I decided to test students on admission. And I believe this also raises questions about the quality of education. So this is highly commendable, and your concerns are also legitimate. If we are doing so well at the WASSCE level, it should reflect in the quality of products we churn out every year from our institutions. All
right, just to wrap, I'll not vote for ANC. That's interesting. That's according to Jacob Zuma. He says he will not vote for the ANC. Is he voting for Julius Malewa's party, EFF? And there's Uganda court takes up challenge to harsh anti-gay law. So Uganda's Constitutional Court yesterday began hearing a challenge to an anti-LGBT law that carries the death penalty for certain same-sex acts and 20 years in prison for promoting homosexuality. So that story as well in there. Let's check out the other newspaper.
The district level elections, that story is banned in the Ghanaian Times, quoting the EC chairperson, Jimensa, urging voters to go out in their numbers to cast their vote. There's an interesting story on Dr. Baumia's running mates. Certain names have been mentioned, and prominent on the list is my good friend, Dr. Daniel Macaulay, McDan for short. And the story says a number of prominent opinion leaders and supporters of the new Patriotic Party in the Greater Accra region are putting forward a strong demand for the ruling MPP to impress upon its 2024 flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, to choose a Ghan as running mate. And the names mentioned are Aikwe Otu, Daniel Macaulay, Magdan, Elizabeth Saki, Oko Boy, Shelley Ayoko Botri, Obuchi Saikofi, Henry Quarty, and Lord Comey. Interesting. And
Accra is very metropolitan. You can't hinge your efforts on the Greater Accra region. I don't know, but in the past, I mean, I've spoken to analysts and all of that. The MPP has had its woes in its own stronghold, the Ashanti region. You step outside of that, well, who knows? Its strongholds, Eastern, Ashanti first of all, Eastern, Western, some of those areas. If you look at the political analysis, they would want to go in that area. The Greater Accra region, like the Central region, is very difficult to grasp. It's very cosmopolitan, metropolitan, and you see, it's also like a rainbow region because everybody from everywhere comes here. Yeah. So you can't hinge your efforts on, it's not only Gadangbes who are here. That's my simple take on that.
I tend to side with you. And like Ashanti, but the Alam Fatah too is real in Ashanti. He will certainly make a dent in that region. And so it's interesting how Bauman says he needs more time to...
Which the NEC, I think, or the Council of Elders has granted him.
On the election, these elections, I don't think as a nation we should continue to live in a delusional bubble and contort ourselves into pretending that the partisan coloration of the district level elections does not exist. After every election, MPP and NEC can tell you the number of candidates they have in there.
Right.
And we are also told, every confirmed by EC, that some of the candidates have partisan party colors as their symbols.
Right.
So this to direct voters where to vote. You know, Ghana is a highly partisan nation.
In fact, those going for the assemblies and unit committees, you see some of them, when you see their posters, if you see blue background or blue and white, or blue, you know they are signaling that. And then if you see green and black, they are signaling that. But I hear someone did something very shrewd some time back. So in the areas where the person knew that there was a concentration, within the same district, there was a concentration of MPP people, the person used the blue background, and in parts of that district where the person knows that there are more NDC members, the person used the green background for the banner. But it is political, and how we handle it moving forward is up to us.
Yeah, so it's time to craft the necessary legislative piece to ensure that we go for partisan as far as these elections are concerned.
Okay, let me just sneak in this comment. So, 2 comments actually. Peter, simply Peter, says, the WASI results may be good, but how were these grades obtained? The fact is what you said. The level of spoken and written English at the tertiary level is what shows the true state of affairs. That is what Peter says. But I have an interesting comment. Abba William says, is English our language? Of course, I was talking about the fact that the written and spoken... I was just waiting. Abba William, is Chi or Gan or Dagbani, is that what you study in? When you go to university or you go to our institutions of education, what do you study in? So yes, I'm open to a conversation about making our local languages more prominent. But if you ask me, is English our language? I'll ask you, when you go to university or any of our universities or any institution of education, do you go and study in Dagbani?
No, not at all.
Anyway,
not at all.
your
not at all.
Other stories we can
The
look at.
Finder has a couple of stories competing for attention on its front page. BOG steering a more robust financial sector, according to our president. 2023 media capacity enhancement program kicks off in Accra. I have a huge interest in that story. And then, of course, the WASI results and the angle on the front page of the Finder is a cancellation of a number of results as owing to more practices. So we need to look at that. Whilst our students are excelling, the tendency to cheat remains palpably high. So we need to strike the necessary balance and ensure that the graduates who turn out are true graduates and not people who cheat the system to get to a certain academic height. And then on the front page of the Finder is another interesting story. By Obo Osei Kufuor, MD of Ghana Post, Obo for short, is going.
Yeah,
Asante Achim seat. He did try the last election. He was unsuccessful.
He's trying again.
Yeah, he's trying again. So that it's good to try and fail. Better to try and fail than to fail to try.
One thing in life, you don't want to get to the point of regret asking yourself, what if?
What if? Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, if it's something he wants to explore.
Yeah.
It's him, and he feels he wants to do this. Why not?
So he has our encouragement to go ahead and then fulfill his ambition.
And it's also interesting sometimes to see people in the creative industry or the creatives, so to speak, segue into other aspects of society, because sometimes there's talk about, the creatives are not giving enough support and all that. So yes, the creatives also need to push people in there who can have a voice, who can give them a voice. So why not? I mean, he's no longer making music and all of that, but he's been there. Yeah. He knows what it's like.
And back to the media capacity enhancement program. The first edition kicked off in Kumasi about 3 years ago. And I believe it's a very laudable initiative from the Ministry of Information. Thank God we have our own man and the product of multimedia occupying the most consequential position in that ministry, Honorable Kojo Ponkrumah. He was instrumental in instituting the media enhancement program, and we ought to lodge at the back of our memory at all times that journalists are not born. Journalists are educated according to Joseph Pulitzer, and we have a situation where, because of the universality of the right to obtain and disseminate information, anybody at all can practice journalism, and our laws do not frown on that. But there's a need to capacitate as many as possible to ensure that it reflects in the quality of what we turn out to media consumers.
We have to go. Let me quickly bring in the Daily Guide newspaper. Is there a headline you want to bring from Economy Times? Maybe just one. I'll bring in this.
Cost of credits to soften next year. If you turn the corner economically, it doesn't make sense that the cost of borrowing is
still so high.
Yeah, so prohibitive.
You're looking at almost 40%. The Daily Guide, Interior Ministry hits road, but I'll just focus on these two very quickly. Ghanaian women less corrupt, that's according to the AG, Govt Adame, has said women are less susceptible to corruption as compared to men. And he said this at the just concluded 10th session of the Conference of State Parties to the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. So I guess that's the script. Why not get more women in there? But this final one, angry Bagbin slams Nana over 3 bills. What are the 3 bills? He berated the president for saying that the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2023, the Criminal Offences Amendment Number 2 Bill 2023, and the Ghana Armed Forces Amendment Bill 2023 introduced as private members' bills had financial implications on the Consolidated Fund. He's basically saying there are punitive measures, and if they go to jail, then the state is going to have to bear it. And so it's really curious, but we have to go. I don't know whether you can tell me something in 10 seconds.
His rhetoric was harsh. I listened to him, but
in recent times, he's called the president a lame duck.
A lame duck, and
now
it's important to emphasize the point that constructive tension between the executive and the legislature is preferable to destructive coziness between the two institutions.
Anyway, let's just get this wish out of the way. Happy birthday to the board chairman of the National Sports Authority, Seth Panwum, a.k.a. Boyoyo. And may this year of your life come with enormous blessings. And the a.k.a. wasn't provided by me. It was provided by our sports crew. So, Mr. Panwum, a very happy birthday to you. That's how we cap off the news review. But Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment. They are offering you free prostate screening if you're a man, free fertility screening if you're a woman. All you have to do is head to any of their branches. Here in Accra at Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronoma here behind the Angel Educational Complex. The Stakrade Anaji State Tema Community 22, Techiman Hanswa, and Esiaman Zima. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Bringing us to the end of the news review, Mr. Money. Nagodi. You would say Bagodia.
Bagodia.
Thank you for joining. Sports is up next.
Nestled in the heart of Tamfiano, a serene village in the Nkranza North District of the Bono East region, is the Tamfiano DA Basic School, a school with a unique set of challenges. It is the first school I have seen that serves as a burial ground and a sheep's pen. Yes, a cemetery and sheep pen sandwiched school, or describe it as between the final resting place of the departed and the bustling activity of a sheep pen. Teachers here are forced to compete with each other's voice as well as the rhythmic grazing of sheep, creating a sound that contests with the disharmony of honking cars and the persistent grinding of motorcycles passing by. Their pupils also struggle to focus in class due to the same factors serving as a constant distraction to the pursuit of knowledge within the school.
Say your school muhai enye ade papa say ye betina masua ade enti ye sua ade kra na ye ho tete.
We feel uncomfortable when learning. The bleating from goats, conversations from passers-by, and moving cars distract our lessons. We can barely hear our teachers when they teach.
Class teacher nature Ubeti edo mo kanmu untie haidia na face cast nem ponchi amu yedede ni na so na wo hye ho no e teacher ne beka no untie the best lab and so obeboa ye na ba be school na maye.
We are pleading with authorities to build the school a new structure for us. There are no classrooms, no furniture, and no teaching and learning materials.
School say yes, yeah, dear Crana, one, it's been number, a being to me, rare class, a cranade, yeah, Pamomo.
The animals sometimes enter our classrooms while we are learning, and we would have to stop and drive them away. Our attention is always divided because while listening to the teacher, you're also tempted to focus on conversations and activities going on outside.
I decided to experience it for myself, so I pitched camp at the footing of the junior high school JHS 1 class, and I could hear everything. Here, the JHS 1 pupils are learning science. The JHS 2 pupils are having their mathematics class, and the JHS 3 have social studies. But as I sit here in JHS 1, I can hear everything that is happening in the second and third classrooms. So this is the challenge here at the Tanfiano DA Basic School. Now, the history. Until 2016, the school lacked a JHS wing. Pupils aspiring to continue their education beyond the primary level had to embark on a journey spanning approximately 4 miles to Bodom or Kokuma. The construction of the JHS wing, achieved through communal labor, marked a milestone in the school's development. However, for 7 long years, the community has hung on to the hope that authorities would transform their makeshift pavilion into a complete classroom block, providing a conducive environment for teaching and learning. Unfortunately, this dream remains unfulfilled, and the school continues to grapple with the shortage of teachers, inadequate accommodation, and harsh conditions.
Community school down over from a the community has tried its best in building the school. The current classroom they are using was built by the community. So we will urge the government to help develop the school and also post more teachers to the community.
Problem Emma Bribia teachers no shower hanese. You supposed to be bad. There be better accommodation na eating. The
reason why teachers refuse to be posted here is because of the accommodation issues. The community bungalow is just 3 rooms, woefully inadequate for more than 3 teachers. Also, there are no rooms for rent.
Free baby otieno abe school dia echirese posting no oma.
The pervasive fear of ghosts haunts some pupils. This fear, perhaps symbolic of the uncertainty surrounding the future of Tanfiano DA Basic School, adds another layer of complexity to the challenges faced by both educators and pupils.
We are scared due to the closeness of the cemetery. We always get drenched whenever it rains because of the leaking roofs. We need help.
Monsieur, what's wrong? Monsieur, Monsieur says someone be Pia Babachim. If you say be car with school, Moya, a bus school car, Monsieur say Pia Ba. Yen to me, Siadi ye. At times, we be free, but now, Mount Faber, she jot money, Nema, or you know, soon, over Baffin, I'll be for
Chris Amayao and Mr. Pia are 2 of the 3 teachers who handle the junior high school. They did not shy away from sharing their frustration.
One teacher teaching here, the voice you also hear at the same time. The children also is also listening to what different person is what teaching, so it becomes confusing. At times, even a teacher may create a jokes in one of the class, whilst some of them will be here laughing. Have you seen, because of the nature of the structure?
In this locality, we find it difficult because the teacher, you don't have much teachers over here. So a teacher can handle even more than 2 or 3 subjects in a school here. So 3 teachers are controlling the whole of what JHS. And in the community, you can also have building, or you can have room to get or to hide and stay inside.
We are managing on it, because if you are teaching and animals are roaming around, you cannot stop what you are doing and chase them. So we'll be teaching while they also be roaming.
In the midst of the tranquility of the cemetery, the pastoral symphony of sheep, and the chaos of passing vehicles, Tanfiano DA Basic School, according to the headmaster, stands as a testament to resilience.
With all these challenges, the students still do well in academics and competitions. So, I know that if things improve, we can do better.
Upon all these stretches, better accommodation, we can do better.
The community, undeterred by the myriad of obstacles, continue to hold on to the hope that one day their school will be transformed into a haven of education, free from the distractions that currently pervade its grounds.
If I have ample time, I'll go and vote. But if I don't have ample time, my work will be involved. I'm not going to waste my time to vote, because those who are even in the current government, they've not done anything beneficial to the youth. How much more the assemblymen who have little or less resource to go on with developmental projects in the local community. So if I have the ample time, I will go and vote. But if I don't have ample time, come on.
This year, the Omina, I get that to say last year, because
this year has been difficult. When the assemblymen called for a community engagement, nobody went. If not for a friend, I wouldn't participate.
I don't never remember can yes and come to be cry.
Our channel got to pa. Our channel dear no queen me do assembly election now. Manage whole class parliamentary presidential election now because we meet you for
I will go and vote tomorrow. I am more interested in a district level election more than the general elections, because the assemblymen are more visible than the parliamentarians.
Be between Sia, semi problem management here, minimum fee, meet me. Miss one normal. Me and Kamu 1 week and 2 weeks, I mean, my assembly man yet day, any kita home. In Jimmy Media, assembly election, idiot. And only election, I think a Ghana crowd will be a minute a day, a course, because on the only net how.
Okay, I have not seen one of them here before because of campaign. But maybe this place is a residential area. At times, when you leave for work, maybe they will come back. I may not know. But since then, I haven't seen none of them here for campaign. Maybe this place is a residential. That's why they have not been coming.
It's the AM show. Welcome back. We get into our big stories now. And like we announced earlier, today, Ghanaians go to the polls to elect their assembly and unit committee members. But what is the picture across the country? What can we expect in the different parts of our country, in the different districts? Well, joining me for a conversation, we have one of our correspondents in the Bono East region. I'm talking about Anas Sabit. He finds himself in the Techiman area. Anas, if you can hear me, what is the latest you can report from Techiman as far as the district level elections are concerned? Hello, Anas, can you hear me? All right, it appears we may have to try to reconnect with Anas Sabit. But like we know, today we know that some 17 million eligible voters will go to the polls today. That is what the hope is. The Electoral Commission hoping that over 50% of that number will show up, or actually over 50% of the voting population will turn up to vote in the district level elections. It would be the highest that we've seen since 1988-89, around that period. And we also know that some 66,257 persons are contesting as far as the district assembly elections and the unit committee membership elections are concerned. Of all of these, we also know 6,215 candidates will be elected as assembly members, while 31,075 will pick slots as unit committee members. And we're also looking at a grand total of 6,215 electoral areas across 259 metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. So what is going to happen today? Voting starts. We go through the normal processes like you would do maybe in the national elections, voting your parliamentarians, voting for a presidential candidate. At close of day, then we can have the results. Per the Electoral Commission, it has said that it's going to be declaring the results at the polling stations or the centers live. It's going to be declaring them there. And we'll try to get the scoop from Techiman as we get Anas Sabit back on the line. But we'll also activate the phone lines so that we can find out from you whether you are going to vote, and if not, why, in the course of the conversation as well. So stay tuned for that. So joining us for this conversation, those who will be interacting with us, we're going to be hearing from Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. Of course, he's a political scientist. He'll be sharing his thoughts with us, and we'll also be joined by an analyst of the district level, local governance. Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante is with us already. He joins the conversation. Doc, good morning. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Good morning, my brother Ben. How are you, sir?
I am very well. I hope you are too.
Cool.
All right. Dr. Asah-Asante, of course, is a political scientist and the director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Since 2019, well, here we are again, 2023, with the district level elections. Before we even get into what the facts and figures are, what are your expectations ahead of today?
It is my hope and prayer that this election becomes a successful one, and that people will be able to go and exercise their franchise devoid of any conflict or violence, so as to elect those society think they are true leaders. That is all election is about, that we pick those that we believe will serve the interests of the people. So I expect nothing but a good election, free and fair, and that those who will lose will take the results in their stride and congratulate those who have won, and then we move on.
Now, you would notice, and we've interacted with a number of people, young people especially, you ask some of them and they say yes, they'll vote. And you ask others and they say no, we will not vote. This means nothing to us. These assembly people, they add nothing to our lives that is palpable, that we can see. From where you sit, what would your response be? It's a civic duty to vote, but we all know that turnouts in the district level elections or the local governance elections are a far cry from what we see in the main elections, where we select a president and then members of parliament. What would you say to such people who say that, you know, this adds nothing to me, I'm not going to vote?
Yes, because they are right in saying that election ultimately is to be able to produce results that will rob off every human being in the state. So if people spend their time, resources to go and cast their ballot and support for somebody, and at the end of the day, nothing comes out in terms of dividends, then obviously they don't want to repeat that dose. It is against this backdrop that people talk the way they do. But I will urge them that, yes, it is true there are these challenges, but let's continue to vote and then take away, in other words, vote out those who will not be able to serve our interests. More often than not, we tend to have leaders who will go and serve their own interests as opposed to the interests of society. If we are able to, we should be able to identify those people, fish them out, and vote against them, and bring into office those who will serve our interests at all times. That aside, the state must also make it a conscious effort to be able to make local government elections very attractive. And what do I mean by that? The conversation of we making local government elections partisan should be brought back again for discussion, because that will, you know, ginger people into supporting that system of government. At the moment, what we have now, you realize the attitude of Ghanaians suggests to us that people are not very much interested in it. And if you have a system where people shy away from, I'm afraid you can't continue to have that system. So there's a need to do self-introspection and then overhaul the system so as to get everybody on board. Democracy means what? The power of the people to elect those who they think will lead them and lead them well. So if the people shy away from that system of government, I'm afraid it's not democracy again, then it becomes something else. And what you and I know is that we are practicing a democratic system of government.
Which districts do you vote in, Doc, and are you going to be voting today?
I am going to Ekropong constituency, that's Ekropong North District Assembly. That is where I vote all the time. I will travel there and go and exercise my franchise.
So let's get into some of the facts and figures. We know that there are over 17 million eligible voters who will go to the polls to decide the fate of these 66,257 persons contesting to become Assembly and Unit Committee members. In terms of the voter turnout, are you as optimistic as the Electoral Commission, hoping for an over 50% voter turnout?
I can guarantee that. I can guarantee that, given the posturing of people, giving concern expressed by people. I don't want to say that if we are not lucky, we are not going to hit that threshold. But me, as a Democrat, it's my hope and prayer that in spite of all the challenges, people will go there in their group and then go and exercise their franchise. But that should not be enough. We should be able to make local government system or elections very attractive so that all the problems that are bothering that system of government, we should be able to nip them in the bud to make it more attractive, like the national elections, which we are always yearning to go there and exercise our franchise.
In terms then of the numbers involved, we do know that with these 16,000 plus or 6,000 plus electoral areas with their 259 DAs, it's quite a number to look at. But if I asked you about the real development that these at that level bring to bear on the back of what I've mentioned, some say they will vote on the back of this or that. Others say they will not vote on the back of the fact that they don't see the tangibles, the deliverables. So if I asked you, do you feel at that local level that these assembly people, these unit committee members are delivering the goods to the people? What would you say?
We can't have, I cannot have a general statement on that because I'm not privy to report that captures all of these things. But at least there are some, it is a fact that some of the districts we are seeing development going on. And that has been triggered by assembly people and the rest of them. And that is why people continue to be maintained in such positions at all times. It is also true that some of the assemblies or the local areas are not seeing the development that is expected for them. And that is why you've seen the apprehension and the rest of them. So it's a mix of, factors that have culminated into what we are seeing. But I think that the results are not the same throughout. There are places where there are good reports, there are places where there are abysmal performance, there are places where there is even non-existing, local government system in quotes that you don't see. The system exists, but you don't see the performance. So it looks as if that the system doesn't even exist there. That is where you see a lot of hue and cry and all that.
You say that you cannot make a general statement, but in your district assembly, you say you are going to vote. Do you feel your district assembly has delivered for you? I'm sure you've inquired. You may not be there all the time, but you've made inquiries about what the contributions are, which is why you want to vote. So how about your district assembly? Do you feel they've delivered?
Oh, I think Akropong, by and large, they have done creditably, and they continue to improve the lives of people. If you go to Akropong today and its environment, all the areas captured under the assembly, right. I can see with the fear of contradiction that I admire the type of performance that the assembly is putting up. But as a fan of Oliver, I want more for the people. But that is not to say they are not doing their best. For Akropong North, I think things are improving by the day, and I am very happy. Yeah.
So the polls have already opened per the time we were given in most areas. Hopefully that is the case. It will close at 5 p.m. in 38,315 polling stations across all of these MMDAs, except, as we know, in Nkranza North and South districts in the Bono East region, because those districts had their elections in 2021 instead of 2019. So we know it's a 4-year rolling process, but for some, it tends to be, I think I've had some unit committee members tell me that theirs is about 2 years or something of the sort. But then again, I spotted, I don't know whether it's for this election, I think it may be for the election in 2024. There was something about live data from the Electoral Commission. But as far as they are concerned, the Electoral Commission, I mean, in terms of delivering credible elections on this, what would be the things that you'd be looking out for today in terms of timing? And I say that on the back of when people get to start voting. It says 7 o'clock. Sometimes people don't start at 7. Sometimes the materials are not ready. Sometimes it goes past 5 o'clock and then it delays. What are you hoping to see in that regard ahead of 2024? Because this will be a bit of a test for 2024.
I want to see election where the election management body, and here I'm talking about the Electoral Commission, is up and doing, which I have no doubt in my mind that they are putting their all. So materials must be supplied. The right officers are there to verify the whole process and then make sure that people vote and vote according to the rules of the game. Of course, I also expect the security people to be able to do their work as they've been doing over the years, and so that we ensure sanity at the place and that the environment is devoid of tension and the rest of them, so that we go there and cast our ballots, and then at the end of the day, we see who has emerged victorious and we support that person to deliver the public good.
Doc, hold for me for a bit. Let's go to Techiman in the Bono East region and interact with Anas Sabit. He's on the ground. Anas, are you in Techiman currently, and what can you report about the district level elections there? It appears we've lost. Okay, so we have Anas Sabit. Anas?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. Where exactly do you find yourself, and what can you share with us this morning?
I'm in the heart of Techiman, the Techiman South constituency, to be precise. I am in the Hausa Land electoral area, where we are expecting over 6,000, voters to show up this morning to cast their ballots. Voting started at exactly 7 a.m. We have people joining the queue, and so far so good. We have tight security here. I see everything in order. The machines, the verification machines are all in place, and as we speak now, there's sanity, there's order as far as this particular election is concerned here in the House Line area. I am trying to get some of the officers in charge to speak with, and then they will tell us their expectations, the number of persons they are expecting to cast their ballots here at the Baptist Primary Polling Center. Let me engage the officer in charge of this particular, election here at the Baptist Primary School. Let me speak with this gentleman. He is in charge of the area, right? You are the name? I'm Frank. Frank, kindly use this for me.
Hello, Anas, can you hear me? All right, it appears we've lost Anas Sabit, but we'll try to reconnect with him. He finds himself in Techiman, and of course, he was making mention of where exactly he was, and he was going to share with us some thoughts. Anas Sabit, back to you if you can hear me.
Then I'm here with the officer Frank. He is in charge of this particular electoral area or the polling center. Yes, so he is in charge of the House Line electoral area. Frank, share with us how far, when did you start? Do you have some challenges? And paint a picture of the situation here for me in terms of security and the corporate.
First of all, it has been a successful. We started early 7 about. There have not been any challenges so far. And security-wise, you have our security around, and the people here to have become voting is going on, everything. And so far, so good. There is no challenge there because we are also praying that it will continue this way to the finish for the
This is one out of our 32 electoral areas in the Techiman South constituency. How many people are you expecting to cast their ballots today? And the turnout so far, are you impressed? Are the people showing up as expected?
Okay, so far, I think our line electoral area we have.
We're experiencing some challenges with connecting to Anas Sabit. We'll try one last time to see whether it actually works so that we can have that connectivity. But in your short, we actually have live visuals from Kumasi, somewhere in Kumasi, as people are expressing their thinking by way of the ballot. So this is the Ofori Chrome area, and those are the scenes ongoing from that voting enterprise in that area. Anas Sabit, I hear you're back. You can take it away from where you left off.
So then the officer is telling us, he's sharing with us the expected voters here within the House in the area. So, Mr. Frank, how many are you expecting? The turnout, are you impressed so far?
So far, I'm not impressed with the turnout as compared to the main election. I've seen since we started almost, I think my polling station is almost 5 or 6 people since the It's not encouraging. We are hoping that these voters at times they prefer coming late so that they will be here and listen. So we are hoping.
So that is the message from Mr. Frank, who is in charge of the Baptist Primary School 1 polling center. And in other areas, the situation is different. I can see a long queue at the other end, meaning there are a lot of people in this particular area. That ends from 7 a.m. to now. We've seen only 5 persons showing up to cast their ballot. The situation is entirely different here. As you could see, quite a longer queue here, and in other areas too, we are seeing people joining the queue to cast their ballots. Yeah, so again, here at the Baptist Primary School, turnout hasn't been too impressive. From one polling center where from 7 a.m. up to this minute, we are seeing only 5 persons turning out to vote. I am trying to get a different officer to share with us what the situation has been at this particular end. Let me speak with this officer. Even though he's engaged, he's trying to find some of the voters to help them vote. Can you please speak with us, share with us this particular polling center? Okay. So what?
Well, we're struggling with that connection to Anas Sabit in Kitchen South. We'll try to reconnect with him later. But for now, let's go to Oforikrom in the Ashanti region. Nanabwachi Yadom is standing by. Nanabwachi, if you can hear me, what is the state of Oforikrom currently as far as these elections are concerned?
Well, Benjamin, the voting hasn't started in the Oforikrom municipality. In fact, some voting centers that we visited, but here at the Oforikrom municipality, the Oforikrom police station here, where there are about 4 voting centers, the election has started. You can see that some people are going in to check their names and then later on cast their vote. In fact, the turnout is very, very poor at some areas that we have visited. There are about 1,000 voting areas in the Ashanti region with over 3,000 candidates who filed to contest for this district level election, i.e. assemblymen and unit committee members. So here we are currently at the Oforikrom police station where there are four voting centers, 1 polling center A, 2, 3, and then 4 from my far end. But what we have learned aside of Oforikrom municipality is that in some areas, Atwimam Punia, Atwimam Wabieja, and Dadieso, alongside Sontreso, voting materials have not arrived, so they are not participating in the election today. Some of them will be voting tomorrow. In fact, there is tension at Atwimam Punia and Atwimam Wabieja. Later onwards, we'll bring you up to speed details as to what is going on at Atwimam Punia and Atwimam Wabieja. But my colleague Emmanuel Baitkweko has been monitoring the situation at South Sontreso, where we are learning that they would not be participating in the election today. They'll be voting tomorrow because their electoral materials are not in, and so for today's election, South Sontreso will be counted out. Ima, you monitored South Sontreso. What's the situation over there?
All right, so Nana, that is where I actually live, Sontreso. So this morning, whilst before coming to this place, I had an announcement ongoing that they will not be partaking in this particular exercise for today, and I asked some of the electorates over there why the reason why they are giving that, because this was a public announcement from the local information center, so they were moving about and then informing them that they will not be partaking in this electoral exercise. And they told me from what they understand is that some logistical challenges is what is impeding them or hindering them from partaking in today's exercise. So I tried to monitor or went to where the voting centers we have right here. When I went there, there was nothing of a sort like whether they've erected these ballot boxes or even ECU officials are there to conduct them. Nobody was actually there. And then I asked some of the electorates whether, because of the situation, would they be able to come tomorrow, because they have been given tomorrow. That's when they are going to partake in this particular exercise. And I asked them their civic duty or their civic responsibility, therefore they would partake in the exercise. But some of them are also, there's a mixed reaction to that. Once they are not voting today, they don't see the need why they should come back tomorrow and come and vote over there. So that's the situation here.
But looking at the fact that they are not partaking in the election today, did you see that, was the turnout okay? In fact, were people actually coming in to cast their vote, or it was as poor as we've monitored across the Oforicum constituency?
So for the fact that they were informed earlier before the exercise started at 7 a.m., most of them did not go to the polling center. Just one person that I met over there, she didn't know that this has been the announcement out there. So she came around and then I engaged her and then she told me that, she would come around, as I earlier indicated, she'll come around tomorrow and then cast her ballots. But for today, once they've told them that they are not partaking in the exercise, they can only exercise restraints and then partake tomorrow. But the voter turnout, during the week I've been engaging with some of them, but they tell me, I don't know whether it's a general sentiment that most of them don't see the need why they should vote for some of the assembly members, especially for the fact that they are claiming that they don't really help them in terms of development in their communities. When they need something, actually, these assembly members are not forthcoming to address their needs. That's why they have not, they will not, for a reason, they will not be partaking in the exercise, that the district level elections for this year.
So Emmanuel Bright-Kweku giving us up to speed details as to what is going on at the South Sontreso electoral area, where we are learning that some voters in the area would not be partaking. In fact, there would not be anything as election today at South Sontreso. Earlier on, as I indicated, Atwuman Ponia and Atwuman Wabieja, alongside that Yeso, would not be partaking in this electoral process today because their electoral materials are not in just as it is at South Sontreso. So at Oforicum, you can see that the election started not long ago. Some people are here checking their names, and then later onwards they would be casting their ballot, and then at exactly 5 o'clock we would be done with the whole election for district assembly men and unit committee members. So I'm told that close to 1,000 people, over 1,000 people will be voting today at the Oforicum municipality or Oforicum constituency, where we have 4 voting centers. Over 1,000 people will be partaking in the electoral process today. There are 4 polling centers, as I indicated earlier. So we'll try and get the EC official here and then engage her and find out if people are actually coming in to cast their votes. Let me speak to her. Madam, the vote started not long ago. How is the turnout? I wouldn't want to do on air, please, sorry. All right, so she is not ready to talk to us, but then as you can see, some people are here going to check in their names, and then later onwards they will partake in the electoral process. But then let me get some of the voters. For how long have you been here?
I've been here for around 1 hour.
An hour now?
Yes.
Wow. At what exact time?
I came here around 7.
Around 7? The process had not started around 7?
No.
Okay, so what have you done so far? You've not voted, I know, but then what process have you passed through?
No, we've been here and checking everything that has been going on, so I think that's what we are doing here.
Okay. But have they engaged you?
Yes, we have engaged them.
And what have they told you?
They've told us the process that we have to go through and everything, so...
Okay, sure. Boss, have you also been to the EC table? Yes. And what have they told you?
Oh, they told us about the voting exercise and then the normalities that we have to follow. That's what they told us. So we are, as for me, this is my polling station, so I have been voted. I have voted for my candidate.
Okay, but then before I leave you, over the period, some of the members, some people, candidates aspiring for the assemblymen and unit committee members, have they been engaging you? Have you met any of them today?
No, we have not met any.
But then have they come to you previously, prior to this election today?
No, we are here because of them, so we are agents here.
Okay, you're actually agents?
Yes, we are agents here.
Sure. So these are agents for some of the aspirants who are seeking to be assemblymen and unit committee members. So exactly the situation here at Oforicum, some people are yet to come. So the EC officials are set. The process has started here. You can see that the electoral materials are all here. Security is something that is very, very much okay at the Oforicum municipality. So let's try and get some other people to share their sentiments with us. You are the EC officer here. How's the turnout for you?
Oh, it's good.
But we are looking at how many people coming to vote today?
Today, about 393.
393. Oh, for this center. Okay, but then how many people have been here so far?
So far, I can say 10 people.
10 people have been here to cast their vote out of over 300?
Yeah.
And is that okay for you?
Yeah, it's good for me.
Okay, so yes, there are over 300 people who have to be here to cast their votes, but then just 10 people have been here so far to vote. Others would be joining in no time, just as the EC for this center stated. So you can see that a woman is here checking her name, and then later onwards she would be casting her vote. The turnout is not interesting because a lot of people are not really interested in this whole exercise. But then the EC officials are optimistic that at the end of this process, that is at exactly 5 o'clock, the turnout would improve, and then they would get a lot of people casting their vote. So yes, Benjamin, this is the situation here at the Oforikrom municipality, where we have 4 voting centers at the Oforikrom police station, and then later onwards at the Chumamponia, Chumamwebieja, South Suntreso, and that year. So we'll bring you up to speed details as to what is going on over there. We are told that South Suntreso, Chumamponia, and Chumamwebieja that year so will not participating in this district level election today because their electoral materials are not in. My colleague Emmanuel Bright Kweku brought us up to speed details as to what is going on at South Suntreso. We'll bring you details as to what is going on over these districts that I have made mention of. But this is the situation here at the Oforikrom electoral area.
Thank you, Nana Boache Yadom, for that exhaustive report. Let's head now to the Upper West region, specifically in the area of Wa, where Rafiq Salam joins us. We're going to gauge the mood there as well. Rafiq, if you can hear me, where exactly are you located currently? And as far as these district level elections are concerned, has the process started? What is happening?
I am currently located in the Kambale electoral area. Hello?
Yes, Rafiq, we're listening to you.
I'm currently located in the Kambale electoral area where we have 9 polling centers here. This is one of 9 spots that Electoral Commission has told us about. And so 2 personalities are on the hunt for this position. Adams Mosaudi is the incumbent, and then he will be challenged by Sarah Fata in this election. So in the Wa municipality, we have 31 electoral areas, but election will be held in 28 of the 31 electoral areas. And also we have voting centers 203, and out of this 203, 187 are currently holding the elections. So I'm currently at the primary A and B 2 polling centers here, one of the largest in the Wa municipality, and that's where voting is currently taking place here. I'm told by the presiding officer that a total of 460 voters are expected in this polling station, and then also they are expecting a huge turnout because this is one of the largest electoral areas in the Wa municipality. And so, as I told you, out of these 90 persons that have filed to contest these elections in the Wa municipality, only 2 of them are women, and one of them happens to be contesting in this electoral area in the name of Sarah Fata. The other is in the Honta electoral area. I'm also told that the 2 personalities also came here earlier, and then they expected and they saw that everything was moving on peaceful. So now I wanted to talk to the presiding officer who's right here, and I wanted to talk to him. If you can hold brief for us to talk to him right here. And so now let's.
Yes, Rafiq, we'll hold on for you so you can actually have that interaction there. Elaborate with the officer so we know exactly what is happening We also know that some of the numbers have not been too good. In Oforikrom, where we were with Nanawachi Yadom, we noticed that at least per what the electoral officer had told us, they were expecting 393 people. Only 10 people had been out there to cast their vote. We hope the numbers improve in the course of the day. But we'll be finding out from you when you're ready, Rafiq Salam, what exactly the numbers are looking like in terms of those who are turning out to vote, even as you get this electoral officer. So while Rafiq Salam gets ready, you must know that polling was set to open at 7 a.m. in many parts of the country. And in some instances, that has not necessarily happened. When we went to Oforikrom, there were issues. It hadn't started at exactly 7 o'clock. Now it's past 8 o'clock, but the point to be made is whether people can all get to cast their ballot before the day ends. Rafiq Salam, back to you. Let's hear from the electoral officer that you have on hand.
Okay, currently I'm having the presiding officer right here in the presence of Sheikh Shaban. Sheikh, welcome to Joy News. Thank you very much. Okay, we are in this electoral area. Tell us more about this electoral area and where the voting is taking place.
This electoral area is Kambale electoral area, and where we are currently standing is Kambale.
Rafiq Salam, I beg of you, please move closer to the person you're interviewing so we can actually hear him. We're struggling to hear him. So maybe if you could get the microphone closer. We'd be grateful. And let him start again.
So we have the A and then the B. The A alone, we have 416 voters on the list that we are looking at them voting. Currently, we have about 27 to 30 people who have cast their votes.
This area is identified as one of the hotspots in the one municipality. Out of 9, this has been chosen. Do you see that here?
No. It's peaceful. So since we started receiving nomination forms and mounting platforms, it has been very peaceful, and we are hoping so to the end of the exercise. And here is also the collation, the electoral Kambale Electoral Area Center. So this is where collation will be done, and this is where the declaration will also be done.
So what about the process so far? Do you encounter any challenges?
Earlier on, the machine were, but we currently everything is solved and resolved, and people are voting peacefully.
So you expect a high turnout here?
Yeah. Looking at how voters are trooping in, the turnout will be very high. That is what we are anticipating.
Okay. You just listened to Sheikh Shaban, who happens to be the electoral presiding officer right here in this polling station. 9 polling centers in this electoral area is considered as one of the hotspots in the Wa municipality. And now we at Joy News will be there to give you up to date what is really transparent in the Wa municipality. 90 people have filed so far to contest these elections, and only 2 are females. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam.
Interesting perspectives there. My only worry, what he just said at the tail end, only 2 females in that area contesting, and the numbers of females wanting to take slots or participate in elections generally in our country, including at the district level elections, is something that we all need to work at. But as we've mentioned today, all of us Ghanaians are going to the polls to elect assembly members and unit committee members for a term of 4 years. In some instances, it's a term of 2 years. Some areas couldn't vote in 2019. They voted in 2021. But polling was set to have started at 7 a.m. It didn't start at 7 a.m. in some places, and it's set to close, like we have in our elections, at 5 p.m. The question is, looking at the numbers that are trickling in some areas, whether those numbers will actually show up. That is what we are all hoping for. That's what the Electoral Commission is also hoping for. But will the numbers turn out? And will we get the over 50% as anticipated by the Electoral Commission? That is the question to look at. In some areas, in Kranza North and South, in the Bono East region, the elections will not be held because they had their elections in 2021 instead of 2019. We've been told about the situation in South Suntreso, which will have its election tomorrow because electoral or election materials were not available. But if you look at the numbers, the electoral areas, 6,215 and 259 MMDAs. And if you look at the regional breakdown, you would see that the Ashanti region is in a comfortable lead in terms of the numbers, with 3,794 persons vying for membership of the Assembly in 1,087 electoral areas. Then you have the Eastern region with 2,685 aspirants, the Central region with 1,634. Then you have the Volta region with 1,398, and the Greater Accra region is fifth, completing that cycle of the top five with 1,346 people eyeing seats in 422 electoral areas. Two other regions have more than 1,000 aspirants for the Assembly slots. They are the Western and Northern regions, and then everything else follows from there. So the question is, are you going to vote? And if not, why? You can share with us on social media. We interacted with some of you, and some of you have been sharing your thoughts about voting and more. Well, this is how we cap off this leg of the conversation. We're still back with a lot more. Mind you, in the course of the show today, we're going to be telling you about how you can make those savories, not sweet, not sour, healthy stuff from soy or soya. And we'll also contemplate, well, this season, it's not always that you'll be in town. How about some sort of vacation or staycation, whichever way you want to call it? The Maha Beach Resort. We'll be talking about all of these still to come on the AM show. We'll be back. Welcome back on the AM show. We'll eventually move on, but we've got a crucial member that we actually are bringing on board for this discussion, what we're having a short while ago. We'll continue on that end with Fred Oduro-Ejako. He's a local government analyst. Mr. Ejako, a very good morning to you, sir.
Mr.
Ejako, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can. Good morning.
Great. Good to have you. I hope you're well.
I'm doing great.
That's fine. So the elections have started. So far, we've gathered that in some areas, the elections will not happen because of certain situations. If you look at in Kranza North and South, it is because instead of voting in 2019, they ended up voting in 2021. If you look at South Centres today, it's because electoral materials have not got to them. Elections did not start on time in some places, and that is also creating some constraints. From what we've seen so far, the numbers in some of these places we've been to are not very encouraging. If you look at Oforikrom, where 393 people are expected, as of now, only 10 have cast their ballot. But generally, from where you sit, what is the picture you have seen, and what will be your sentiments on those?
Well, the point is that conducting the state-level elections is a lot more difficult compared to the national election of the election MPs and the president, because the candidates are varied and the number of the contestants are so many, because here are people contesting for the unit committee and the assembly member at the electoral area level. So each electoral area has got its own set of candidates for the assembly member position as well as that of the unit member role. So it is a logistics nightmare and extremely tedious. So some of these challenges are not absolutely unexpected, although we always seek to ensure that some of these things cannot happen. Again, when you cannot hold it on day like that, I do not see it as fatal, because every effort should be made to hold the election as soon as possible. So I am not overly worried about some of these mishaps that we can expect. The issue of low turnout is something I have spoken extensively about. That I do not.
But you know why I'm bringing that up, because the Electoral Commission has been very optimistic. I listened to the likes of Dr. Sribokweku that hopefully they could get an over 50% of the population turnout to vote. You know about the recent registration exercise. So that is the angle I'm coming from. I know that historically it's been low, but could we repeat what we did in 1988 and 89, where we had over a 50% turnout, do you think?
Well, they are the organizers, so they would want to whip up interest. But from where I sit, I don't see any significant interest in those elections compared to any others which had, the exception of the very first one that you rightly mentioned. The situation that is militating against low turnout persists, and we've done absolutely nothing about that. I mean, even if you look at the fact that people go to register not necessarily to vote in the district level election, but it's an opportunity to register, and so they want to register. Primarily, a lot of people are more interested in the national level election compared to that of the district level election, because there's the vehicle for mobilization at the local level is very ineffective. And the EC itself, which is trying to whip up interest, is not capacitated to encourage people to go out to vote. The campaign, or if I can, dedication that has gone together with this exercise has come in so late in the day. In addition, there are fundamental challenges that persist that will continue to let people not be interested in this process. So I do not think that just that people have quite a good number turned up to register when the voter register was open. For me, does not portend any increase in turnout for this election.
So, I mean, the Electoral Commission has, to be fair, tried to whip up interest. The NCC has also, played its part. Yes, there was the voter registration exercise and all of that. You still don't feel all of these will amount to any major change in the voting pattern. That's what you're saying.
I'll be surprised we can get anything close to 40%.
You'd be surprised if we get anything close to 40%?
Yes.
What would be your projection? Maybe because historically, there have been 2 times when we've had less than 30%. So what then would be your projection?
I would still think we will be doing around 35%.
35%.
The highest I think we can get to will be 35%. I'm not saying we can never do 40%, but I don't ever think we can do anything around 40%.
Okay.
I am projecting about 35%, if not less.
Mr. Jacko, what do you think is the missing piece of this puzzle? Why do you think people are not getting involved? Yesterday, we shared some of our interactions with young people across the length and breadth of Ghana. Some said, they would vote because they had been personally impacted. Others said, this means nothing to me. I don't benefit in any way. I'm not going to vote. So what do you think is that missing piece of the puzzle that we can do to whip up public interest in the district level elections?
Well, there are a myriad of issues that we can talk about, but let me just mention a few. One, I think, is the lack of effective vehicle, especially a vehicle like a political party to whip up interest. 2 would be, for me, the low representation of women. Women form 50%, more than 50% of the population, but they have so little representation in our local governance system. 3 is to do with the fact that people do not see the impact that the assembly has got on them. Our local governance structure, for me, is not made to make it very accountable to people. So people feel that even if I go out to vote, it's not going to make any difference. So I'm not going to do this. So basically, we can even dwell on these 3 issues. There are more to it than these 3. But for me, these three issues are very fundamental to why we are losing interest in district level elections.
And you mentioned something. I am very passionate about women's affairs. I just want to focus on that. You say there is too little representation of women, and I agree with you if you look at the numbers. But it also got me thinking, a lot of our population, over 50%, is women, okay? Which means if they don't find themselves represented, the willingness to go out there and vote will also be curtailed.
So you begin with a majority of the population being apathetic.
Right.
They think they would not be, they don't have a stake in the process. So automatically you have that women voters being apathetic. And of course, I believe I also alluded to other things. So it's also going to affect a lot more people in there. So naturally, if you start off with the women voters being apathetic, it tells you straight away that you have a challenge with the numbers that you can have turning up to vote in the election. So these are some of the critical things. I think we've not done well with our female representation. And maybe beyond this, we need to begin other discussions. The affirmative action bill, we need to look at it critically, not only at the local level, but also at the national level. We've not done well as a country. It's shameful on our part that to this age, countries that are doing very well are allowing a lot more participation for women. One example is Rwanda. It is not just one president who is making all the difference. It's also systems put in place, including women representation at all levels of governance. So we need to look at that if we really are serious about improving our governance system.
Beyond these, you also look at the work that these assemblies do. We've already had extensive conversations about whether it should be partisan. It is clear that it already is politically partisan. It is politically colored, politically tinted. But the work they do, does it suffice? Because that's the other angle of the problem, where people don't see the benefits of going to elect these people. The work they do, does it need any further streamlining, or do you feel it is in the right direction?
I think we need a local government system where I can elect.
But we already have a local government system.
You see, we need a system that I don't just have to elect the assembly member, but I must also elect the chief executive. So much power is put in the hands of the chief executive. Some of them can browbeat most of the assembly members into doing what they want to do. And we need to enhance the powers given to the assembly members to superintend over what goes on in the assembly. When I know that indeed my assembly member can influence decisions in the assembly, I am careful as to who is elected to that position. But if we elect assembly members and the assemblies don't even have the financial wherewithal to even undertake activities that they do, if I elect an assembly member who cannot come out with programs and policies to affect me, what is the point in going out to elect that assembly member in the first place? So we need to look at the construct of our assembly, local government system, and see to enhance the powers and the responsibilities we give to the key stakeholders, so that when I vote for an assembly member, I know that assembly member will go to the General Assembly, will scrutinize what goes on in the General Assembly, that people are going to be accountable to us through our representatives. But if we elect them and they hardly make any impact, why should I waste my time to go out there to vote for them?
Will you be voting today?
Hopefully.
Okay. Any final words you'd like to leave us with by way of expectations, by way of any other comments you have before you take leave of us?
No, the assembly system is extremely important to our development. We need to look at it, we need to work on it and ensure that it delivers the kind of development we need. So I believe that beyond this election, I'm praying that we can have platform for improving the system. But if we leave it as it is now, we will not get the right people. Let us go out there to vote for assembly members, particularly more women representatives. Let us go out there to vote for people of integrity, because we need a lot more people of integrity in our government system. Let us vote for people who are committed to development at the local level. If we can do that, at least we will make a little headway in this difficult fight.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ejako, for having joined the conversation with us this morning. Fred Odro Ejako is a local government analyst. Now we can say for certain that we've capped off this end of the conversation. Like he said, just to reiterate, he doesn't expect anything above 35% in terms of the highest possible turnout. But before we go, let's also connect up with Martina Bugri in the northern region. Martina, good morning. Where exactly are you, and what can you tell us in terms of this district level election? Hello, Martina.
Hi.
Yes, I was asking, so from the northern region, where you find yourself?
I'm currently at the Zion Primary School, where...
Please go ahead, Martina. Please go ahead.
I'm at the Zion Primary School, where voting is underway. I must say that they have had some appreciable numbers coming in to vote compared to when you move further into town. For here, we have people coming, and that is largely because it's more a rural area. There's the full SNIT electoral area. We have more of the communities. They really know themselves, they know each other, and so they are able to convince people to come out and vote. I've spoken to someone who says that what they are doing now is to go into the homes to tell people that they need to come out and vote. And largely that is because the weather today in Tamale is pretty cold, dusty, and so when people are not, they don't really have a reason to want to come and vote, because they really don't see, when you speak to people, what the sense you get is that they really don't know the work the assembly members are doing, and so they are not too enthused or too interested in voting. But in this community, we have seen some numbers come in to vote.
So in terms of the numbers coming in to vote, can you give us an idea? I mean, we went to Oforikrom in the Ashanti region, only 10 had voted out of 393. What are the numbers coming through from where you are?
And so far, we have had more than 20 people come in to vote already, I'm told.
Right. And you say that some of the people are not so enthusiastic. And any final words, Martina Bugri, before you take leave of us?
I didn't get that.
So I was asking whether you had any final words, anything else to share with us before you take leave of us.
What we sense is that probably there will be some numbers, but not as they are projecting, because people are really not coming out as we speak. I mean, people are indoors. Just a few people have interest or have shown interest and are coming out to vote. And probably largely because the weather too is not too good today.
Martina, final bit. I just wanted to find out, can you speak to any of the electoral officers? Do you know how many people they are expecting at that polling station? Hello, Martina? Okay. All right. The connection is frozen. It's patchy. We'll try to maybe reconnect later, get those details, and bring them to you in bulletins that we'll share with you from 10 a.m. But that is how we cap off this conversation. And we'll continue from here. We'll take a break now and return.
Nationwide. That's witnessed the
Well, we have quite the focus on the district level elections today. We've taken you to the Ashanti region of Forikrom. We told you about what was happening in South Suntresu. We've taken you to the northern belt of the country, Wa in the Upper West region, and the northern region as well. Well, let's come into the Greater Accra region now. We head to Awoshi, and my colleague Christiana Sweetie Abochi is on hand. She's going to be engaging some of the Electoral Commission of officials, among others, to get us the scoop there. Christiana, if you can hear me, what is happening in Awoshi as far as these elections are concerned? Christiana, if you can hear me, I'd like to find out what is happening at the electoral station, the polling station where you find yourself. What's the mood like? What's happening? Are people coming out to vote? So we'll try to work on the connection to Christiana Sweetie Abochi. She'll be bringing us the scoop from Awoshi right here in Accra, just letting us know what exactly is happening there. We've been to other regions. We've been to the northern belt of the country, the northern region, and then the Upper West region, Wa to be specific. We've been into the Ashanti region. Now we're coming to Accra to find out from those who are likely going to vote in Awoshi what is happening. Christiana, what is the situation in Awoshi currently? Are people turning out to vote?
As you can see, the atmosphere here is quite calm. When we got in, there were no activity. There was nothing actually happened. But now we can count about 4 people who are in to vote. We were informed that about 6 people only have been here since this morning. As we anticipated, it looks like the voter turnout is not as encouraging, but the monitoring team tell us it is normal for the district level election. I have one of the monitoring team persons here. Please tell us your name.
My name is Mary Maula Wejiche. I'm the branch chairman for NDC.
Okay. So, as part of the monitoring team, what have you monitored so far this morning from the other polling stations that you've been at?
So far, so good. Yes. And we are looking on maybe by 12 o'clock. Many people has gone to work this morning because we didn't start early. So I thought people would come and vote after work.
Well, Benjamin, we also have one of the officers who is in charge of this polling station, which is Victory Polling Station A. We have A and B here, but he's in charge of A. Please tell us your name and what you've observed so far and how the elections are going according to your perspective.
Okay, my name is Ambrose Akwesiamwako. Here is a Victory Church, Bayard, Awosh. We have 2 polling stations here, A and B. But district assembly elections turnout are always very low. But as time goes on, they will begin to come. So far, yeah.
There was a lot of jingles played, information. We've enjoyed news reported on the possibility of this voter turnout being low. Is there anything that you think they could have done different? The NCCE, we citizens could have done differently to change the situation, or what do you think about the situation, the low voter turnout?
For that one, I think today is a working day, and we have a lot of people going about their normal duty. So maybe we hope that from 3-4 thereabout, those who have been able to, they can take maybe excuse from work and then come and vote. But it's normal. You cannot. I understand what they have done, both NCCE and other stakeholders. So it's normal. That's what I can say for now.
Well, thank you. We'll keep.
I cannot. Anyway, that's what I can say.
Well, we keep monitoring, and as we go, we update you on how the activities are going. But I understand that there are other polling stations in this district, so we'll be going around to see what is happening in the others at the other polling stations, and we will update you.
Very much, Christiana, for bringing us the scoop from Awoshi around the Barnyard area. That's Christiana Sweetie Abochi. We also have Fred Kwame Asare, and he is reporting from the Volta region. Fred, what's the latest you can report? I know you've been in the Hodome area. What's the latest from there?
So I've been monitoring the district level elections at the Hodome electoral area, where we have 7 people contesting the assembly member position, and then you have 6 contesting the unit committee slot. I visited about 3 polling stations. The first place was the Calvary Baptist Church polling station. At about 8:45, only 12 people turned up to participate in the exercise. And then also the election officers were not seated at where the station was set up because they were not provided any space, and then the sun was causing them, so they have to find shelter somewhere else. But then they were still monitoring the station. And then I moved to the Abatidume Center 1, where the electoral deciding officer told me that just one person had come to vote about 9 o'clock. And then the Center PT mentioned that the other electoral deciding officer mentioned that at the time of my visit, 12 people had come to participate in the exercise. So they are hoping that as time goes on, as the day progresses, people would come out in their numbers to vote for their respective candidates. They also mentioned that because this is the district level election, people come in budget as compared to general elections where people come in groups. So they are hoping that before the day ends, they would come in their numbers to participate in the exercise.
And so that is the hope of all of us, that people will show up in their numbers. But as of now, what have the numbers been like at the Hodome polling station, for example? From the last I gathered, only a few people had come to vote.
Yes, so I am monitoring the election at the Wusudome electoral area in the home municipality. At the Calvary Baptist Church, at about 8:45, 12 people came out to vote. At the Abatidume Center 1 and 2, at Center 1, we had 12 people participating in the exercise, and then at Center 2, we had just one electorate coming to cast his ballot.
Okay. Anything else that you can report to us? I mean, do the electoral officials, do they have the full complement of everything they need? Just walk us through anything else that you can report, and then we can cap off.
The stations are well geared up for this exercise. They have been provided everything they need for the exercise. But the only problem here is that the electorates are not turning out in their numbers to vote. I spoke to some people around, and they mentioned that in the course of the day they go and vote because they know that they will not be better at the center. So they are planning to go and vote at the later time during the day. But for the stations, they are well geared up, waiting for the electors to come and then cast their ballot so they complete this exercise.
Thank you, Fred Kwame Asare. He's been reporting from the Volta region, the Wusudome, Hodome area as well, bringing us the scoop on that. As we have it from our correspondents, voting is yet to commence in the polling stations, all the polling stations in the New Dwaben South constituency. New Dwaben South constituency. Of course, we're looking at the district level, so the various districts there. And we are told the EC is yet to provide ballot papers. Voters are saying some of them can't wait anymore, and so they are leaving those centers. That is pretty problematic, but that's also a report coming through from our correspondents. In the course of the day, yes, in our major news bulletins and more, and especially as the day ends, we'll bring you the latest details as far as these district level elections are concerned. And we'll also find out whether the Electoral Commission, and all of us, that's our expectation, whether we'll be able to meet the 50% target of voters participating in these elections. Stay with us. We'll be back with more shortly. Well, let's now talk about where you can relax, or if you like we say here, chillax, chill, relax over this Christmas festivities, over this season, I should say. I'm going to introduce you to the Maha Beach Resort in the Western region. And we have joining the conversation Sylvia Osei-Mensah. She's Sales and Marketing Manager at the Maha Beach Resort. Sylvia, good morning. Hello, Sylvia.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you too?
I am well. It's been a bit of a tiring start to the year, but that's why we need to talk about the Maha. I need to come to the Maha Beach Resort. But tell us, where specifically is the Maha Beach Resort located in the Western region? Just create a picture for anybody coming from different parts of the country.
Sure. So Maha is located in the Western region. We are in Atwabo, very close to Ghana Gas Processing Plant.
Okay.
Yes, so we are about an hour and a half from Takoradi Airport. So if one is coming to Maha from Accra, they can come by air to Takoradi, then we pick them up from the airport. Or they can come by road from Accra straight to Atwabo. That's where we are located.
All right. And you just made mention of something that I found interesting. So when people arrive at the airport, you can make arrangements for them to be picked up and taken directly to the resort, right?
Yes, certainly. Yes, we do that. We do airport pickup, yes.
I see. That's interesting. But tell us about the Maha Beach Resort. How long have you been around? I've heard some fantastic things about the resort. I've had friends come there. I've not been there personally. But tell us a bit about how long you've been around and what basically you have on offer at the Maha Beach Resort.
Right. So Maha has been in existence for about 7 years now. But from the first 2-3 years, we were always fully booked. So people didn't get to hear about us.
Wow.
Because we had some contractors and other people taking over the whole place. So we actually started opening to the general public, I think in 2019, 2020, yes. So we have rooms, different types of rooms, from standard to executive. We have a presidential suite. We have sea view and garden views. Then we have conference facilities, catering for all sort of events, seminars, conference, parties, weddings. We do a lot with banqueting as well. Then we also have the recreational part. We have Maha Village, which is a private island sort of. We do a boat ride there to have fun games where we can do the water sport like the jet ski, the paddle boat, banana boat. We have a restaurant on the river, so you can have lunch over there. At Maha, we also have a party bus. If you want to party or chill, we give you a party bus, drive you around with food, drinks, DJ on board. We also have a cinema, so if you come in with a family, you can relax, have a movie at the cinema with free popcorn. We have a gym and spa. We have multiple swimming pools. We have different restaurants, the a la carte restaurant, the buffet restaurant. There's so much, but we have something special for this Christmas. We have a package. You stay for 2 nights, you get the third night free.
Hey.
And this comes, yes.
Wow.
So you need to come and relax, yes. And this comes with your meals as well, with breakfast, lunch, and dinner throughout your stay.
You're telling me that throughout this Christmas, I don't know when it's starting, whether it started already, but you're basically saying you book for 2 nights and you get an extra one free.
Yes, that's correct. So you get to stay for 3 nights and pay for just 2 nights. We started from the 15th and it will end on the 8th of January.
Oh, wow.
At the moment, yes, we have some of the days fully booked. So if anyone wants to come there, to give us a call as soon as possible because the rooms are fast selling.
Wow.
And we have a lot of activities planned for this period. We have the live band, the night with the DJ, the brass band, the breakfast with saxophonists, lunch with combo band. A whole lot is happening this Christmas. So if you are tired, if you want to relax, if you want to get away from Accra or from wherever you are, just give us a call. Come and relax, come and have fun with the family and create memories.
Now, you're whetting not just the appetite of our viewers, but my own appetite as well because of...
I want you to come as well. You need a break too.
you know, I'm in dire need of a break. But let's talk about your rooms. So you say you have standard, you have executive rooms. What do these come with? What dimensions are we looking at? You know, some people like their space. Tell us a bit about that.
Right. Most of our rooms are with queen size beds.
Okay.
So yes, and then we have with the dimensions. It depends. The standard is 15 square meter. Then the bed is American type, or the high bed. There are different rooms with different decorations.
Okay.
We have the standard, deluxe, executive. We have family suites as well, the 3 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms with a hall and kitchenette. So we have rooms to suit all requests.
I see. You spoke about your pools, the gym and all that. Yeah, you can stay fit while you enjoy yourself. But do you have any water sports?
Yes, we do aqua aerobics.
Aqua aerobics. Tell us a bit more about that.
Okay, so with aqua aerobics, it's just like doing the aerobics in the pool. And it's so interesting. You have the participants in the pool with an instructor up there. So you'll be expert in the pool with music. It's so fun. People love it here. And then we also do the beach walk. If you want to relax or if you want to keep fit early in the morning, you can do a nice beach walk. The beach is very clean, very nice and quiet. Just do your walk. So you can walk about how many miles? Yeah, 14, 15 miles and come back. It's safe as well.
Wow. Well, looks like a full package that you have lined up. I'm just going to conclude the conversation by asking you, for anyone who may want to make a booking, what processes do they go through? Do you have a website? What are the numbers they can reach you on?
So they can give us a call on 0303 977 771.
Okay, you'd have to take that number again, but slowly.
Yes. 0303 977 773.
Okay, one last time. Is that the only number?
Yes, there is a mobile number 050 157 0684.
One more time.
050 0501.
Okay, so we've got the initial number. I know it's always tricky mentioning the phone numbers, but Sylvia, we're grateful. At least you gave us the landline that people can reach you on, and I perfectly understand. Sometimes it's tricky. You have so many numbers in your head.
05015700684.
Okay, there we go. We got it out finally.
05015700684.
Okay.
They can also send us a mail on sm@maharesorts.com.
Okay, I missed the start of that. In terms of email.
SM, that's yes. S for sales and for marketing @maharesorts.com.
Okay, all right. We're grateful. Any final words, Sylvia?
You said that again?
Any final words for us?
Oh, yes, I'm saying everyone should come. Even if you don't get the chance to come this Christmas, you can always come after Christmas because we always have packages, nice packages for our guests. So
all right.
Yes.
Sylvia,
enjoy their Christmas.
We're grateful that you took the time to join us this morning, and we'll organize ourselves and see whether we can pass through. That is Sylvia Osei-Mensah, Sales and Marketing Manager, Maha Beach Resort. That's where you ought to go this Christmas season. If you're minded to do so, I mean, just go and enjoy yourself, relax a bit. It's been a tiring year, hasn't it? But we thank God for everything He's given us. Stay with us. We'll be back with a little more on the show before we cap it all off. back on the AM show, and right before we cap off, so look at the conversations we've had today. We've taken you across the country, the Ashanti region, the Upper West region, the Northern region, as far as the district level elections are concerned. We even brought you here in the Greater Accra region, in the Awoshi Barnyard area. As far as the numbers are concerned, they are not so encouraging currently, but we're hoping that there will be an uptick in those turning out there or turning up to vote. That's one of the conversations we've had this morning. We've also spoken about the Maha Beach Resort, if you're minded to do so. If you saw the scenes, you'd like to share your thoughts with us, 0302 211 691. 0302 211 691. But there's something I'd love to hear from you on, the SML situation. And I'm talking about the $100 million that we're likely paying to this outfit for practically no work done. Well, we have a call on the line. Hello, good morning. Hello. So the number to call, 0302 211 691. That's the number to call. All right, so we'll actually use 692 instead of 691 for today. 0302 211 692. 0302 211 692. It's at the bottom of your screen. Do call that number. Let's hear from you. Like I was saying, I'd like to hear from a few of you who would call on the SML situation, the finance ministry, the GRA, the MPA. Per what information had been gathered, the MPA was not involved in this. But how about the GRA and how about the Ministry of Finance? Specifically, the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, who put pen to paper and signed for that contract expansion. Based on what did he do that? Specifically, himself. And what is there to show on the back of the work of SML? From what the Fourth Estate has revealed, nothing. So we're paying people basically to do nothing. And we're going to the IMF for $600 million when we're willing to expend $100 million a year on something like this, and you're tying us to it for 10 years. Kobe, I hear you've joined the conversation. Where are you calling from, Kobe?
Yeah, I'm calling from Akroso in the Eastern region.
Atoso or Akroso?
Yes, please.
All right. What are your thoughts for us this morning, Kobe?
Oh, well, concerning the elections?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, the machines that we are supposed to use for the voting is not right at the center.
Oh, okay. Are you? Which center are you at?
Ariadonko Center.
Ariadonko?
Yes, please.
And are you there to vote?
Yes, we've been there since morning. The equipment are not available yet, so we come and go. We are just checking on the time that the equipment will come so that we can do the voting. So therefore are getting disappointed, and then people are going to farm doing their whole personal stuff.
Oh, I see. We've heard that somewhere else. But are you a staff of the EC, or are you just there to vote for yourself?
Oh, I'm just there to vote for myself.
You are just there to vote. Kobe, thank you so much for letting us know. We're grateful to you for the call. Hello, good morning. Can we go on to the next caller? Hello? All right. 0302 211 692 is the number to call. 0302 211 692. If you're voting as well, let us know. All the way from Ashaiman, we have Hamza joining the conversation. Good morning, Hamza.
Good morning. Thank you for the good work you are doing for Madagascar. I was especially joining.
Thank you. What are you going to speak on? Are you voting?
The deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's been 2-3 days that this pop up in the media, and the government is very quiet. Now, you know, my opinion is that they are preparing the lies you come and tell to defend this. And, you know, some of the times, some of the journalists, they try for Ghanaians to rather believe what the government is saying. Rather than maybe like doing further work to let us know who is selling the lies. They who documented, who had this document, and or the government. No. Then they try to let us believe what the government is saying. It's for 2 days or 3, right? And the government has no responsibility, and because they are now preparing how to lie to Ghanaians, and we allow them all the time, and they lie. You know, everything about this government is about chop, and they have a way of lying, and the media also carry their lies that they come to explain. So we should just believe it, just like that. That is my pain. And so this one, we will talk, and it is not, it is going nowhere. Yes,
well,
it's going nowhere. There has been so many corruption. They will come and lie. That they are responding. And that's it.
Hamza, you have a bit of a valid point, but we'll continue doing the work. It is not up to us. We are not the legal authorities. We don't determine who should be incarcerated for what. But what must be exposed, like we do here at Joy News, independent, fearless, credible. We'll continue doing that for God and country. We're grateful that you took the time to call. If there's enough time, we can pick one more caller, if you're minded to do so, to share your thoughts on any of what we've been discussing, including the SML situation. 3 billion Ghana cedis supposedly saved when all of that was a lie, a big, fat lie. And the question now is, are we as Ghanaians going to sit down and allow all of this to happen? Will we probe further? And will we get some answers? Eventually, will there be a response? Like Hamza said, there's been no response from government so far. So what then can we expect? I'll leave that to you for your thoughts. W.O. Mante is our final caller. Hello, good morning. W.O., if you can hear me, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining the conversation. You're our final caller. What are your thoughts, please?
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, what are your final thoughts? What are your thoughts for us, please?
Thank you very much for your listeners to hear.
Okay.
My thought is on the election and then the finance something.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll start with the finance. That contract that they signed is not the president aware of it. Is he aware?
Is it a question you're posing to me, sir?
I'm asking whether the president is aware.
Well, you'd have to ask Mr. President. I don't know whether he's aware.
Okay. So, you see the second caller was even telling, the second caller. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening. Hello, you can go ahead. I'm listening.
He was even asking that, he was even telling that you, the media house, have to always be checking these people. That is your work about these corruption issues. But make as if some of you have joined parties. You see, you have joined the parties. Some NDC, some MPP. So how can you check if there is corruption in the country? You see, you should be neutral. You should be neutral. You shouldn't join any party. Yours is just to go and vote. And then on the second thing, when I went to my polling station to vote this morning, the ink was not there for us to identify that you can vote.
Okay, so there was no ink.
This is also
which polling center was this? Which polling center?
That's at Sunyani Barracks.
Sunyani Barracks.
Yeah, Sunyani Barracks. New Doma, Sunyani Barracks.
All right. Are you done, please?
Yeah, so please, the media, you have to work. You have to work for Mother Ghana. You have to work for Mother Ghana. We all look upon you, the media. We look on you. You make Ghana better for our future children to come and enjoy. Because after my age now, I'm around getting to 70. You see, so you people should help us. We beg you people, help us. Because all of us are taking pay. I'm a serviceman. I'm on pension now. I'm taking pay. So I depend on this my pay. I will not go and do any corruption for my children to come and suffer. So you people should take it. We beg you people. We beg you people. We are suffering too much.
Dabi Omante, thank you. Thank you so much for calling. He says he's an ex-serviceman and in his 70s, and he really doesn't like the situation at hand. The media will continue trying to do what we can. I appreciate what you're saying, and I know that some people, yes, may have their own interests, but over here, like I said, independent, fearless, credible. We do our best for God and country. Thank you to all of you who watched. Thank you to all of you who called. Let's do this again, same time tomorrow. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. This is the AM Show. Up next is Joy News Desk. Stay for that.